Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be able to share this story today, a real live narrative from the Bible. I've been going through the Bible, listening and reading, and my reading yesterday was on 2 Kings chapter 5, 6, 7, and 8. And in chapter 5 of 2 Kings, there's this story of a man named Naaman. Now Naaman was a commander of the army of Syria, of the enemy of Israel. As a matter of fact, he was in charge of raiding parties that were going in and taking captives from Samaria and Israel. And a young girl was taken from her family and was taken to be a servant in Naaman's home and served Naaman's wife as her attendant. And the story gets quite a twist in it when we see this young girl who has every reason to be vindictive or bitter or just silent and pull away from everyone. But we hear this statement from her: if only Naaman would go to Samaria and find the prophet of God that is there, he could be healed. You see, Naaman had a terrible disease called leprosy, and it was incurable. And so when Naaman heard that there was a possibility that he could be healed of his leprosy, he went to his king and told him about it. And his king wrote a letter to the king of Israel. Now, when the king of Israel got this letter from an enemy king who had been attacking them, he was sure that it was some kind of trick, that he was trying to pick a fight with them and escalate the war. And so the king of Israel was just at wit's end and just tearing his clothes and terribly upset. And one of his attendants said, well, there is a prophet, Elisha, who he could go and see. And so they sent Naaman to go see Elisha. And when he got there, Naaman was a very strong and powerful man, a great warrior, has servants with him, and he came to the home of Elisha, and Elisha sent out his servant to tell him, if you want to be healed from your leprosy, just go into the Jordan River, dip into it 7 times, and you will be cleansed, or your leprosy will be gone. Well, when Naaman heard that, he went away angry because he didn't want to do that. He thought, why should I go into their old river? We have beautiful rivers back home where I'm from. I could bathe in those. If that's all I need to do was take a bath in the river, then I could get rid of my leprosy? This is ridiculous. Something happened. His servants that were with him came to him, and they addressed him with respect and with gentleness, and they called him Father. They said, Father, if the prophet had asked you to do something incredibly hard, maybe climb a mountain or go and do some great feat, defeat an enemy so that you could be healed of your leprosy, would you have done it? Well, of course I would. But all he said was to go into the Jordan River and to dip into it 7 times. So why don't you try? And so he listened to them, and he went into the Jordan River. He dipped down into the river 1 time, came up out of the water, no difference at all. 2 times, 3, 4, 5, 6, and finally he went in the 7th time. Obeying the prophet, listening to what God said to him, he came up out of that river, and his leprosy was gone. He was completely healed. The Bible says that his skin was like that of a young boy. It was like he was, we're always looking for that miracle thing that will make our skin look young and healthy, will take the years away. Well, it took the years back, and it gave him this beautiful young skin without any leprosy. And so he cried out to his servants and said, what a great thing this is. And he went back to the prophet and he said, thank you so much. He said, I know now that there is a God in Israel. There is a prophet, and that he's real. And so I'm going to go back to my country, and I want to honor God. But it'll be difficult for me because of my king. But I want you to know that my heart has been changed, not just my life, but my life has been changed in the inside and on the outside. And so he was so happy. And I think about that story, and I think about two characters in that story that had every reason to perhaps not say something with gentleness and kindness, to not think of others but to think of themselves. The first one was the young lady that was taken from her home, that was made to serve as a slave in Naaman's house. And she thought of her master Naaman, and she had compassion and kindness, gentleness. She spoke the truth to him. What a great encouragement that is. And I know that you probably have seen, even in this time of difficulty, people that have shown extraordinary kindness, that have shown that they thought of someone else first. And then I think of the servants that worked for Naaman, and how they came to him, and they spoke to him, and they called him Father, and they spoke with reverence, with kindness, and with gentleness, and they thought of him. They wanted him to be healed. They wanted him to be able to be rid of his leprosy, and so they pleaded with him, and they appealed to him to listen to the prophet, to listen to God. And I think that those that would call us to listen to God, to trust God, to obey him, and to seek his face in the times of difficulty are such a blessing to us. And so may we be those kind of blessings to others, thinking of others first, speaking with kindness and gentleness, looking for what we can do to be a blessing to others.